If you're wondering what the hardest class in nursing school is, then stay tuned because in this video, that's exactly what we're going to cover. But it's not just about what the hardest class in nursing school is, because honestly, that will vary from person to person. But we're also going to give you some tips that will help you survive and excel in those classes. Hey guys, it's Thomas over here at nursemoneytalk.com, and like I mentioned, we're going to talk about the hardest class or classes in nursing school. But before we begin, let me invite you to go ahead and, if you find this video helpful, hit the notification button, give it a thumbs up so that you are notified whenever we release a new video. So, to begin, as I mentioned before, the hardest class in nursing school, honestly, it's kind of a loaded question because it really will vary from person to person. So from my experiences, some of the classes that students will generally find difficult will be like maybe your pharmacology class. Depending on the person, it could be your psychiatric nursing class, it could be OB class, it could be critical care, it could even be med surg. And so when you say the hardest class, it really will vary on the person. It will also vary on the school, because for some schools, some classes will naturally be harder than others, depending on the professor as well. And then even on the individual person, it is gonna vary as well, because some nursing students will just naturally be more interested in some classes over others. So for example, if you came into nursing school wanting to be an OB nurse, then it would make sense that you might find the OB class a lot more interesting. And if you're more interested in the course, then you naturally could find it easier than somebody who would want nothing to do with OB. The same could be said for psych. The same could be said for mental health nursing, and even pharmacology, and the list goes on and on. Here's some tips that will kind of help you navigate those hard classes and also ideally excel in those classes as well. The first tip, it's one that I'm sure you've heard mentioned, and that's forming study groups. But to me, it's not just about forming study groups, it's about making sure you have the right study groups, because study groups can be beneficial to your success in a hard class, but it can also lead to your detriment as well. So a good study group is one where it's a good size. So, I generally like study groups that are 3 or 4. I feel like once you start getting a lot more people then it starts becoming very hard for everybody in the study group to kind of get, the individual, needs, attentions, or focus that they need in whatever they're struggling with. And it honestly, big study groups become more of a chatter fest than anything else. But having the right amount, having a group where all the members are focused on what the goal of the group is, what they're going to study on, and also making sure that your study group meets at the right place. A place where people can, where all parties can be focused on the matter at hand. Another tip that many students find useful is getting a tutor. Tutor, depending on the class, can be really helpful for kind of teaching study tips and, helping to reinforce just kind of the material that they're teaching you during lecture. A good way to find tutors is either by talking to your instructors. Many schools will have we'll have places where you can get tutors or whatnot. Another method is using an online platform, such as the one that we recommend, which is Wyzant. And, on a platform like that, you can go in, look at the ratings of the tutors or whatnot, and pick one that you like, and then you can start setting up a time to get help there. I like it because I think as a student, it's a digital platform. You don't really have to go anywhere for it. If you want to check it out, you can, our affiliate link, which is nursemoneytalk.com/yzant. And so you can kind of take a pick there. They also do help with kind of like NCLEX tutoring as well if you're further along. The other tips that are really beneficial for really excelling at a hard class is apps on a smartphone. As the saying goes, there's an app for everything. And honestly, when it comes to studying, there kind of is a lot of apps for just about every class in nursing school. So this one is, and it kind of has to do with the app, and it's about making flashcards. Most students will make paper flashcards, and that's fine. Personally, for me, I like to find a flashcard app so I can make my flashcards. I can study it on the computer. I can go running. I can go walking, and I can just be flipping flashcards on my phone. I mean, and a lot of those apps will kind of give you better tools for, what do you know, what do you not know, and just better way to track it. And one of my favorite things about it, besides the fact that I can take it on a walk or whatever, is the fact that I can't lose it. So I generally lean more towards making a flashcard on the phone, but paper flashcard works just as well. The other thing to think about is about recording lectures. And before you do this, make sure you do get permission from the faculty or whoever's lecturing to make sure that it is okay to record their lecture. My preference would probably be to use my phone. But there's some perks with just using a phone, but I know many students just prefer getting a dedicated recorder that's, for that. And, there's pros and cons with it in terms of, not using up the space on your phone, and, one's actually dedicated for doing that. So the mic can be a whole lot better than the ones that are on your phone. So, I would just kind of test out which one that you like, which one works for whatever process that you have, and then just go with it. I don't think you can go wrong with either way. I'll also put a link in the description below of the article that we did that really goes more into detail and just kind of like some of this stuff that I'm mentioning about. As I mentioned earlier, if you found this video helpful, please go ahead and give it the thumbs up. Let us know what your thoughts are in the comments below.